known Honorable Patrick Mariru when he was not yet an honorable. He has always been honorable, but he was not an honorable. We were together at Parklands campus in the Christian Union. Patrick Mariru was the chair of the CU after I left. And then he joined Focus as a STEMA, which I also went through. And then together at the International Institute for Legislative Affairs, where we both served on the board. And of course, now as Honorable MP for Laikipia West. So Patrick, would just like you to share your thoughts. Our topic for today is a biblical worldview. And just to ask you, what do you think, what is your understanding of the biblical worldview? And why do you think this is important for Christian leaders in the public square?
Thank you very much, Rachel, and good morning, everyone. I'm very happy to be part of this inaugural leadership dialogues or a session. I'm also very excited to share the same platform with Dr. Ramachandra, who is the next speaker, because I think my journey largely starts with him. He may not know, but he traveled to Kenya, I think in the year 2004, and spoke in Commission 2004, I think, and he spoke aloud Integral Mission. He probably doesn't know what his talk and his session meant to me and for who I am today. I will probably have a privilege to meet him once, and I'm forever grateful. Anyway, just go back to your question, Rachel. Or I think the worldview is a big word, but in terms of understanding, my understanding of Christian worldview towards politics and leadership and governance is essentially what God expects of us as Christians. And in the context of Kenya, what really God expects us as Christians to do in the face of what is happening in our country, what continues happening in our country, the issues our people are facing, and the call to every Christian to engage, and the understanding that the engagement in what is happening, in the social issues happening in our country and the world, for that matter, we are obligated as Christians to engage. And there isn't any dichotomy, in my view, and my understanding and my appreciation over the years. There is no dichotomy of what I used to read and discuss a lot when I was at Afoka staff, allowed the proclamation of the gospel and the doing of the gospel, and the understanding of looking at the ministry and the life of Jesus Christ. There was no dichotomy between the kingdom of God and feeding people. It is a totality of Christian ministry, a totality of our core, and a totality of our obligation as Christians, to the extent that as we preach and help people know Christ, we are also obligated to condemn what is not right in our country. We are obligated to talk about corruption. We are obligated to engage at that level. That's what I understand the Christian worldview to really what's happening in our country and our people. And there's a danger in dichotomizing that life of Christian, so that you are another person from Monday to Saturday and another person on Sunday. God has called us to be Christian, and Christian is exactly that. So that has been my appreciation of what we are called to do and what is our role in our country and in the world today. And it has to start there. If it doesn't start there, in my view, then you just become like any other person. There is a divine call for us to engage.
Mariru, allow me to interrupt you a bit. There is some light coming in through the curtain on it would be your right. If you don't mind being able to close the curtain so people could see you.
Oh, they can see me.
Yes, that's a bit better. Yes.
I took an angle.
Yes, that is better. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, just
Thank
picking
you.
up from what you've just said.
Yep.
So we are called to embrace the holistic gospel of Christ, which means that Christ is in all our spaces, in the workplace, the religious, and others. How have you practically been able to use this understanding in your career, especially as a politician? It's one of the places that people think God is not found. And so, how have you been able to bring this understanding to bear on how you conduct yourself in the constituency, in parliament, even navigating a political party? And we know things are hot in Kenya right now.
Yep. And they have always been hot, actually, Rachel. Now, I don't know. I don't think I have been extremely successful in that. It is work in progress. But as I work and I in this area of politics, right from when I was a speaker of the county assembly, now as a member of parliament, and maybe for the first time telling this forum, hoping to be the governor of Laikipia next year, is the whole issue of love to the people. When I go to the county, to my constituency, and you find people who face serious issues, to be practical, you find women who can't barely pay 2,000 for their kids' school fees, and they're struggling. Real issues. You find young people who can't get tomatoes from their farms to the market because there are no roads. Real issues. And for me, and I think for any Christian, it's just the love of those people. Where you have resources, you have been given resources, you are steward of government resources, and you have just been told to sort out those issues. This year, we have given a huge bursary program. And previously, there used to be a bit of money being lost from the bursary kitty, for example. And this has gone on for many years in my constituency and many other places. Well, I called my staff and said, look, things have to be done differently, because this is people's money. It's their money. And that young boy who can't access school will be the next member of parliament, would be the next president. We have an obligation to support them. And so what we did a whole participatory process of a bursary program, got representatives from every location to actually identify, not me, them, to actually identify needy kids from every location. And after identifying needy cases from every location and awarding or proposing them to be given bursary, you pin the list in a chief's place for 7 days and announce locally in churches and everyone that, look, go and check who is it in your location who has been given bursary and who hasn't been given. So the process is a bit open. So it's a bit of a challenge area, but sort of people have embraced that open way of doing things. And I could give a few other examples around that. So it's essentially the love for the people. It's what sustains you. It's what sustains you in politics. It sometimes can be very hard. Not can be. It is often not easy. But just the feel that, look, God called you and you love these people and you can do all that needs to be done to serve them. And let me tell you, sometimes you may not see the big changes, huge national changes. But the fact that that young man, that young girl, who in any other way would not have been made it to school, for me is a very big story. When I go home in the evening, I feel very gratified when women would have to travel for 7 kilometers, 10 kilometers to access water. If you, through the office you have been given, and through what for me I call that divine obligation to serve, and you have people access water in 1 kilometer, you feel very happy. And that's what sustains you as a Christian and as a leader. And for me, that has been very helpful. In many cases, when I say this in other forums, it looks like that feeling, that appreciation that this is this is a core, is not always appreciated in many forums. But for me as a Christian, I feel very happy that God gave me a chance, and there are little changes that you can point and pick up of God's people as they face their issues, and even nationally. As you know, Rachel, I'm part of the speakers panel, and so I preside Parliament largely on Thursdays and sometimes Wednesday afternoon. I feel very gratified that by sitting as a speaker at the National Assembly, and we deliberate serious issues. And as I said, when I met the interns physically, sometimes some of these issues are never reported in the media. But when in the evening I go home, I feel very happy that God gave me a chance to sit there, and you made sure the debate was steered towards dealing with real issues of our people. For that one session, 2 hours that I'm seated there, it is very gratifying. And probably, I would say that is what probably sustains, not probably, certainly sustains me in this space. Outside of that feeling that you are doing God's work and God has called you to do, I would exit politics, because sometimes it is very heavy. Outside of that deep feeling that this is God's work.
So Christ's love compels us, and that has compelled you to serve your constituents. You've talked a lot about some of the things that it compels you to do. Are there instances where the biblical worldview has compelled you not to do certain things? And so difficult decisions you've had to make or to face, and where biblical worldview has helped you?
Well, yeah, there could be certain instances. In certain instances, it's not too drastic as such, because some of it is allowed national conversations. That is not about Christian or not Christian. For example, the BBI discussion, whether to support or not to support, is not a Christian not Christian issue. Many instances are like that. It's sort of other dilemmas, practical dilemmas, political dilemmas, and all that. But there are instances also, particularly in my constituency, I lost or I had to relieve a manager in my constituency who was very key in campaigning for me, very, very key. Actually, where I got most of the votes in Nyahururu town, the manager comes from there. And when I engaged the manager, just the things that used to happen before I got to office, they continued happening, and I got to know much later. And I had to relieve that manager of the job. It was painful and it was hard, but it needed to be done, because I told them, look, public money would have to be used for public purposes only, and it's allowed bursary and how the projects are done. That I had a serious beating within that region, politically, so to speak. But look, things have to be done right, and they have gotten to know that with me. Luckily, I have sort of gone over the region and helped them appreciate part of that decision, why I had to make that decision. So there are those instances that you make decisions that sometimes are costly to you as a politician. You do or probably not do because you don't believe in them. But largely others are allowed other considerations, politics, regional politics, national politics, and all that. Yeah.
Okay. What are some of the things practically you do to ensure that you have a biblical or godly worldview? So what are some of the disciplines you practice or things you have done that have helped to shape that worldview?
Well, obviously, from the traditional focus, I do quite a bit of reading. Focus teaches you to do quite a bit of reading yourself. So I do quite a bit of reading myself. There's one person who has really helped me, and that is Catherine, my wife. We discuss a lot what is happening in the constituency. You know Catherine, what is happening in the constituency and all that. Sort of, she helps me put and keep the North Star, and sort of ask me Why did you have to do that? I don't think that was right. And it's an honest discussion. That has helped me in a big way. I have people, obviously some of whom are here, that we discuss many things. I can see Dr. Joshua, even yourself within the board we have had with Kirago and Nams and other people. That has helped me in a big way. And of course, the church, where I attend CITAM, and even a smaller congregation in Nanyuki, where I was speaker, was extremely helpful in that regard. So friends, family, and a bit of reading. There was one, I don't know whether Dr. Washira is here. There's one forum that I thought was extremely helpful someday. If he's here, I would still say it because it's not such secret. One forum that he one day convened me and I think one or two other politicians, and we went to his house. And we had a few other people who are here also attending, sort of engaged us. What is happening? What are you doing? What you're doing? Why are you not doing what you should be doing, and all that? An afternoon session. We haven't had an opportunity to have another one, but to their credit, they probably may not know that forum personal was very helpful. I wish there were more. Of course, within the limitation of time because people are all over and busy, but such forums, small forums of talking. And this lecture is not only helpful to me, it will be helpful to many, many other politicians, especially Christians. I can tell you, some of the forums we attend sometimes may not necessarily enrich you the way you would have expected. They actually draw from you. But like the one I'm talking about, Dr. Ashiras and a few others, you feel very enriched as a Christian politician, and you feel excited about it, and it sort of keeps you going. So Rachel, in a wide way, friends, church, and of course home, my wife.
I would like to open up to two people. If there's anybody who would like to ask Honorable Mariru a question, please, Gift, do you want to say something? I saw you touching your microphone. And just two people very quickly, if anybody has got a question for Honorable Mariru. Barnes? Okay, no questions for him. Wow, Honorable, you're lucky. I'm sure if this was...
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead, Fabian.
I have a question, Rachel.
Go ahead.
Mheshimiwa, this is Dr. Makanda.
Yeah, Dr. How are you?
I'm okay, thank you. I was at that forum you're talking about at Professor Ashiras.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I would like to just ask, and this is to clarify and to help many people, including myself, the dilemma of spending money so that you become a politician, so that you be elected. That seems to scare off many Christians who wish to engage, because one, they don't have the money, and then two, if they have to have the money, they're wondering, am I bribing voters or what am I doing? And in this country, money is spent big time so that then you get into politics and you're pursuing to serve God in that journey. I don't know how you navigated that path and how you can encourage Christians who are seeking to engage. Thank you.
Yeah, should I go, Rachel?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, well, it's a big dilemma, Dr. Makada. Is a very big dilemma, and not only in Kenya, actually worldwide. I saw a whole conversation in the US allowed what amount of money one can use, allowed laws, allowed campaign financing. Is a whole discussion allowed in the world, and more so here in Kenya where we know more. Obviously, you have to use money. You have to use money because even the whole logistics allowed campaign is never easy. And in my constituency, which is very vast, the traveling, the public address, the agents you have to pay, outside of even any other arrangement. That is not little money. But you also have examples of people with not so much money who have been voted in. Probably it's not even using money when you are campaigning, it's also using money after you are in the office, which for me is extremely perplexing, sometimes annoying. I have to be honest. I know we are all Christians here. Part of the biggest challenge, I must say, is the churches themselves. The amount of cards, Harabe cards I get from churches, from my constituency, is unbelievable. In fact, I met 6 pastors, and I was giving this testimony somewhere. I met 6 pastors, and I asked them, for heaven's sake, where would you expect me, as your member of parliament, to pay Harabes, almost 10 Harabes every Sunday? Where would I get that money from? It is either 2 options. Either I give you all my salary, and I leave my family to go without food, or I steal and I give you the money. Those are the 2 options. So I ask you, as the people of God, tell me which are the 2, because there are only those 2 options. Which one would you like me to take? So it's a big challenge when you are campaigning, the use of money, and there's a dilemma of you go to Nyahururu town and they see my car, and when I'm there, all of a sudden there are 100 young boys around me and say, look, you know, umetuacha aje? How have you gone now? You know what they are saying? They need this order from you. So it is that is situation. So in some situations for me, practically, I give them by the order. Some situations I refuse to give them, and they are angry. I say it's okay. So it is all that manner. I have no right or wrong, the right or wrong answer to that. It's a whole conversation around it that is ongoing. But as I said, Dr. Makanda, it is during the campaign, and probably for me, more when you're in the office. And everyone in Kenya have come to I don't know where they got the impression that the politicians have address money. Please, they don't have address money. They have their salary, you know, and those who are crooked go steal. So it's a whole discussion that I probably may not give you an answer now.
Things they thought would make them happier.
Okay. I noticed that Okanda had raised his hand, so his will be the last question. Okanda, please.
Okay, thank you, Rachel, and good morning, everyone. My name is Okanda. I am one of the interns. Thank you so much, Honorable Patrick, for that candid conversation. You seem to be a man who has clearly defined his worldview, you know, and even from the practical explanation that you have given. But my question goes to you and your colleagues, your fellow MPs. We seem to be led by people who have got diluted or, you know, distracted worldviews. Maybe from your own, if you get an opportunity to bring all these people in one room, what can you tell them? And how do you see that conversation changing the aspect of their leadership journey as far as transformational leadership is concerned in their community? Thank you.
Thank you very much for that question. One, I would have failed in this interview if I ever projected as myself as a perfect politician. In fact, I'm really struggling on many things, but God is faithful, and I have to keep the North Star. It's a continuous struggle to do the right thing and basically serve. It's true, I know with no uncertainty that we have bad politicians. I probably could be bad, but I'm not as bad as some of the politicians I see really at Bunge. So sometimes I honestly ask, don't they love the people? You know, and I'm saying I'm not also good, but we have bad ones. And bottom line, if we came together, and that's why we need more and more Christians to engage at this level. Bottom line, it is love for the people. You must get, whether you are Christian or not, you must get to the level that you love the people you represent. Love them and to the extent that you can serve them faithfully, because we have some resources, never mind, could be limited resources, and those resources can change lives. You know, there are members there are politicians who really don't care about that. And it's about what Dr. Makada said: go use money, get back to vote. You're called a muheshimiwa, you're powerful, and then do your things. Go after 5 years, get voted, and surprisingly, some of them get voted. You know, and probably it's a call for Christians, because love for the people. It is those women that I keep mentioning. You know, that picture of a woman in the village who has no shoes, is coming from a forest carrying firewood, and is thinking in her head, what of my young boy who needs to go to secondary school? Just the thought of that person, and voted for you. That person queued for hours to vote you as a member of parliament or a governor or MCA. What more can you do than to be faithful and serve them? Faithful and serve them, and not to change the world. That young man, young family, and all that. And for me, if I got politicians together, I would tell them one thing: just love the people that voted you and serve them faithfully. Maybe in another time we come and talk about the challenge of the people now to the politicians, because it's also a huge challenge of the people themselves, sometimes, who make politicians to be who they are. Because the people and the general populace, sometimes it's also not easy as a politician. Sometimes you have to serve them regardless of what they say, and just be faithful, because sometimes you do a road and the people you pushed the road to be done may not see that you did the road. They're actually wondering what, you know, they probably want money, as Dr. Makada would say. They don't want the road. So it's also another whole issue that we'll come and discuss another day. Maybe, Rachel, as you finish, I would say this. Part of maybe our conversation as Christians and as politicians, also as general Christians, is also to think through what amounts to Christian issues, or Christian worldview, or a Christian view to politics and social issues. In some situations, which I disagree, is Christians would like to engage in very narrow issues. For example, when abortion is mentioned, that's when you see Christians up in arms when abortion is mentioned, or homosexuality. That's all. I have a big problem with that myself, and I'm part of the Christian Lawyers Fellowship, and that's where you are. I would like to see Christians engage on everything. The road is as important as abortion issue. Healthcare is as important, or national debt is as important as homosexuality. So the Christians are not only seen in what I would call churchy, narrow issues. Everything, healthcare, environment, national debt is as important as abortion. So that you're not seeing you are pushing Christian issues only when you are pushing against abortion. That we must, but we must also deal with roads and water and healthcare and national debt and many other things.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mariru. I know there are many other questions we would like to ask him. He is still with us, and we hope we will have many other fora where we can share together. I think he called for us to help to hold him accountable. So, Honorable Mariru, we are praying for you, even as God leads you to the next step. I will repeat what I tell people. He has said campaigns are expensive. If you want Mariru to be the governor of Laikipia County, put your money where your mouth is, send a campaign contribution. I will also plug in for one of our interns who is actually running. He also needs campaign contributions. He's called Kevin Yoga. So if we are going to have Christian politicians, we need to support them. You can send campaign contributions. Thank you so much, Honorable Mariru. I hand over to Dr. Walanga.